monkeys.
Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy Golden Falls, Golden, what if, whatever you want to call me. And I am back. I'm back with a brand new what if movie. What if Deku was an android? This, I was going and debating how exactly I wanted to make this story for a little bit, but I think I found out exactly how I want to go about it. And as always, if you all enjoy, make sure to leave a like, sub, all that good stuff. It helps the YouTube algorithm. It helps me grow the channel, helps me grow the community, all that good stuff. Also, the link in the description is for the Discord, also for where the music I use in this video comes from. Give my boy Saint a follow, a sub, all that good stuff. Make his day the best you possibly can. And that's about it. Let's make this what if a good one, and let's not waste any more time, and let's get right into it. Let's get it. Izuku Midoriya, a young child who just wanted to be a hero, be strong, be the best possible hero in the world, just like All Might. Wanted to save everybody, never wanted to hurt even a fly. Izuku Midoriya was just a child when a tragic accident occurred. He was with his mother and his father was overseas. They got into a horrible car wreck, killing Inko Midoriya and leaving Izuku on more or less death's bed. Hisashi Midoriya caught wind of this and immediately headed home. Obviously, this would take a while, and Izuku was held in a hospital for months on end. And during this whole time, Hisashi was pissed. He was so mad to hear that he wasn't there to take care of his son, and wasn't there to, well, see the life fade from his wife's eyes, at least be by her side when she left this plane of existence. Hisashi was mad at himself, so he swore that he would help his child, help him recover whatever needed to be done. So when he arrived, he saw Izuku, a 6-year-old child at the hospital bed, laying there. It seemed that his arm was torn to shreds, his leg was beat up like nothing you've ever seen. He was practically unrecognizable, and he began sobbing. Hisashi was so saddened by the look of his son that he began getting horrible thoughts that whoever has done this, he'll melt them to the ground. But he remembered the smile of Izuku. Even when he was born, even when he was just 2 years old, he knew his son would never want him to do such a thing. So he put those horrible thoughts in the back of his mind and decided to take action. The doctor said that Izuku would not live much longer, only months if lucky. Hisashi did not take this lightly. What they didn't know is Hisashi had something up his sleeve, something that he, well, has been hiding from his family. He has a secret lab, a secret scientist lab. He and a group of researchers have been creating these artificial, well, intelligence. On top of that, robots. He's been creating tons and tons of, well, test androids in a way. And this would be, I guess, i.e. a cyborg, but for simplicity, he thinks of it as an android. His son is torn to shreds. He needs to save him now. So, even with the limited research he has, he takes his son over to a hidden lab that him and his research buddies have. They begin, more or less, helping the child. For years on end, Izuku is only there, and that's all he knows. It felt like torture in a way. Izuku would get screws put in him, bolts, various other electronics, and he felt every bit of it. He was sitting through literal years of torture, but he would try to think back to, well, the time his mother was living, but even that memory was slowly but surely slipping away from him. The pain and the suffering he was going through for years made him forget most things, until finally it was over. Everything just abruptly stopped, and he could hear the murmurs of the scientists outside, knowing one of them. He wasn't sure who it was, but the voice sounded familiar. You know, we could change anything about him. Personality, anything. I'm not gonna do that. Why would I change my son's personality? Are you crazy? What about objective? Hisashi, this is serious. We can't just let him run wild. What are we supposed to do? What do you mean, what are we supposed to do? He's a kid. He's a kid that was hurt and we saved him. What? What are you talking about? As this conversation is occurring, one of the other scientists are typing, well, in the motherboard of Izuku, giving him direct information. This information was to kill his father. The motherboard then reactivates, and the tube or the pod that Izuku is in begins to open. He steps out, and everyone is shocked except for the one scientist that did it himself. You see, it's this simple, Hisashi. Now you will. As the other scientist is about to say that Hisashi is the one who's about to die, well, Izuku charges at the other scientist, killing all of them in an instant. Hisashi is shocked by this and asks what happened and why did he do that. Hello, Hisashi Midoriya, or should I call you father? They put in my programming that I should kill you, but I've been listening this whole time. Hisashi is shocked by this. He thought Izuku's consciousness was completely out of whack and he wouldn't feel a thing during the process, but he was wrong. His son has been getting tortured for how many years now? For at least 9 years. Hisashi begins to tear up and begins to cry, saying that he's so sorry, that he didn't know his son could feel any of that, and that he would have taken other measures to try and help, but he didn't know. Izuku bows his head and says that without his father he'd be dead, so it's just fine. He looks around for a bit and sees that there's various other pods. What are these other pods? These are, well, other androids we've been working on. I see. Why? Why do you need other androids? Well, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. They just wanted to work on them, and I assumed it was for, well, helping Hero Society be easier. You're in with the wrong group of people, Father. The wrong group of people. Izuku began then asking tons of questions. Exactly where they are, how long he's been out, and other things like that. Realizing that he's been out for a long time. And he begins slowly but surely remembering what happened to him. That he was in a car accident. But that's about all he remembers. He asks about his mother. Where is she? And his father nods his head and apologizes, saying that they were both in the car accident and, well, she covered his body to save him and she was dead on impact. Izuku is shocked by this and saddened that it feels that he doesn't even know his mother. It feels that there was no connection. It's as if this procedure kind of misconstrued that memory. It's basically gone. He can see a silhouette when remembering his mother, but that's about it. Izuku then nods and says that it's not his fault, he presumes, and that his father is the only reason why he's currently, alive. Yeah, and I'm still sorry about your mother. My wife. I mean, frankly, I wish I was here more for you guys. I was working around the seas, and I won't be doing that anymore. So I'll be around if you need me. So what do you think I should do? How old am I? What am I, 15, correct? Yes, 15. So? I'm not sure, kid. Maybe do whatever you want. You can go back to school. Izuku cuts him off and asks if he can go to UA. He sees in his past memories a building just like it, UA High School, plastered on the front of it. And Hisashi nods and says that he can see what he can do. It's a long shot, but UA has started and it's been a little bit now. But he can see if he can get him in based on what they know about Hisashi. Izuku nods and thanks him. But Izuku has something else in mind. He's questioning everything at this point. Questioning the death of his mother, questioning his father, even questioning the past memories he has. Are they real? Or are they just a program that was put into his head? He begins getting ideas to do certain things, kill certain people, but he begins thinking, is that exactly what his past self would want? The kid that was hospitalized, would he want to end people's lives? He looks at the bodies of the scientists and completely incinerates them using some sort of blast that comes out of his hand, and Hisashi is shocked by this, thinking that he doesn't remember ever putting that in his son. But Izuku says that he knows everything that was and is currently within his body, that there's a lot. There's advanced intelligence, certain blasters, and obviously enhanced strength and speed. He can feel it. It's as if he manually gave somebody superpowers. It's odd. Hisashi tells him that if he wants to be a hero, he can be, and he can be the hero that he wants to be. Izuku nods and basically tells him that whenever he can call UA to let him know. Hisashi nods, and a couple days pass. Izuku begins getting a foothold on what the world is like right now. 9 years of practically just being in a coma definitely does that to you. You need to be able to learn and thrive outside. So he begins learning more and more outside until finally Hisashi tells him that UA decided to give him a trial test. He'll have to take a practical and a written exam to see if he's fit. Hisashi told Izuku that basically he told UA that he wasn't able to initially try out because the kid has been in a coma and was under some intensive recovery. Izuku nods and asks when does he leave, and Hisashi says about right now, and if all goes well, he'll have a place to stay in the UA dorms. Okay, thank you, father. I'll be seeing you. Izuku, as he leaves, begins looking at the other pods, seeing other people within them, and begins thinking why those people are still there and why is his father keeping them captive. But that's not something he'll question at the moment. He'll just keep it in mind. Izuku leaves and arrives at UA High School, the home of future heroes, one of the best in the nation. Izuku walks in and is greeted by a man with a scarf and, well, what seems to be a rat. Nezu, the principal of UA, greets him. "Hello, you must be Izuku Midoriya. It's a pleasure to, well, meet you." "It's a pleasure as well. Principal Nezu, I assume?" "Yes, that's me." "Let's get right into it. Let's give you the written exam, and then we can give you a practical. Should be simple enough." Agreed. Izuku takes the written, and he aces it. It's so easy for him. He's been in a coma for 9 months, but the intelligence that was given to him and basically fed to him through a mother chip enhanced his intelligence like crazy. The only thing he was lacking was, well, kind of like social skills and anything that was really happening outside that he wouldn't be able to find, at least in a mother chip. After completely acing the written exam, here comes the practical. Izuku walks out and sees a bunch of robots and asks them if this really is the practical. "Yes, kid, it's the practical." "Why is this the practical? I'll have these beat in seconds." Aizawa's eyes widen. You're an interesting one." Nezu says that if he can do that, just do that right now, and he'll get into UA. But Izuku begins to question, is UA really this good if they have a practical like this? Aizawa smirks, but Nezu is shocked by the response, but after his initial shock, he begins to smile. Aizawa steps up and says that that's what he likes to hear from a future UA student. "You'll go against me. Win or lose, you're in. But you're right. I like your attitude, kid. It's practical." Aizawa steps up and begins his assault on Izuku, but Izuku is easily able to dodge. Aizawa activates his quirk, but that doesn't even work. Izuku is quirkless. He just has a lot of modifications. And even Aizawa realizes this and stops the fight short. "You win. You're in, kid, for sure." Aizawa begins staring at him for a second, and Izuku asks why he stopped the fight so soon. "'Cause you were gonna win. No point of continuing the fight. You're in, kid." Izuku nods and basically walks his stuff to the dorms, in which he already brought with him, ensuring that he already knew he would be, well, granted access to UA. He puts his stuff in his dorm and is greeted by the Class 1A students, in which nobody knows who he is. Even Bakugo, who was Izuku's friend at one point, doesn't recognize Izuku. He seems different, looks different. Frankly, he's not the same person by any means, and Bakugo doesn't even know who he is. They were only about 6 years old when they were friends, so it wouldn't be too outlandish to think that he wouldn't know who Izuku is at all. But most of the class greets him. Bakugo calls him an extra, and well, they start up class once again. But the thing is, Izuku missed out on a lot. Missed out on various different things. Hero training with All Might, the USJ, even the UA Sports Festival. But Izuku knew that this was the case. His father told him how much he missed, but he didn't really care. Everything's an end goal for him. He doesn't mind if he misses all these trivial things, he just cares about the big picture. So, we're starting at, well, the internships. Izuku doesn't have any internships, but Aizawa tells him that with what he did in the written and the practical against himself, he'll reach out to some agencies and see what they think. Izuku nods, and well, that goes pretty according to plan. Izuku gets some agencies and, well, heads off as soon as possible. Izuku then arrives at an agency and is greeted by a hulking figure, but one that grows a massive smile on his face. It's Fat Gum. Fat Gum is the person that decided to give Izuku a chance. he heard the story what Izuku went through from Aizawa, and also what Izuku told Aizawa, and also how much potential this kid has. So he decided to bring him on board, especially with someone like from the big three. It could be a great mentor for him. So Izuku obviously introduces himself, but Fat Gum says that he already knows who he is and that they're gonna get started right away. Fat Gum asks him to, spar with him a little bit and see what he got. So they go to a little area that they can spar, and Izuku asks if it's okay for him to actually hit Fat Gum. "Yeah, kid, it's completely fine. I'll be just alright. Go ahead." Izuku charges in and punches him in the gut and sends Fat Gum flying. Izuku quickly realizes it and goes and catches Fat Gum. "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." Fat Gum begins to laugh. "No worries, kid. You pack one hell of a punch. That hurt." "Oh, thanks." Fat Gum says that he has great potential as a hero, but he does need to learn to hold back just a bit. Of course, he can go all out against a pro like him, but some villains are weaker than others, and some, if you hit them too hard, may not wake up. After Izuku hears this, he begins to have a slight flashback to when he was in the hospital laying in the bed and his father walked up. Izuku could sense around him. It was as if he could hear what was happening but couldn't see it. He can hear his father yelling at somebody, saying that he's going to take his son, that he's going to save his son no matter what. Izuku snaps out of it, and Fat Gum has been calling his name for the last about 30 seconds. "Kid, are you okay?" "Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I'm sorry. I just remembered something." Fat Gum nods and tells him that it's okay, and that they're going to begin patrolling very soon to get Izuku used to, the style of a hero. Izuku agrees and, continues on with his patrolling. Patrolling goes pretty normal. Actually, pretty boring. There was a couple villains, but Fat Gum quickly destroyed them, or Tamaki quickly defeated them. It wasn't much of a challenge. Fat Gum mostly just laid on them, and it was like the fight was over. Izuku doesn't necessarily have a hero license, so he just protected as many people as possible, getting them out of harm's way and other things like that. Some days pass and a call then rings for, Fat Gum, and it's Aizawa, telling him that one of the students were, gravely hurt because of an attack with the hero killer. Fat Gum apologized to Izuku and that he has to get sent back to UA sooner than, planned. Izuku said it's just fine and that he hopes that whoever got hurt is okay. Fat Gum asks if he knows who the kid is, and Izuku shakes his head. He doesn't really know any of his classmates. Fat Gum pats him on the head and says that should be one of his goals. Get to know everyone there. You want to have a connection with the future of, Hero Society. Izuku agrees and says that he promises that he'll try his best. Fat Gum says that he expects nothing less and allows him to leave. He arrives at UA and, Aizawa begins explaining that Tenya Ida was the one who got gravely injured. Izuku is shocked by this, but not too concerned in a way. He didn't know exactly who it was, but now that he has a face to the person that is wounded, it in a way makes him feel bad. Makes him feel bad that he doesn't know his classmates. But at the same time, some other things begin to rush his mind. Memories that he forgot about when he was only just a little person, a little kid. He begins remembering everything about his mother, about everything that happened. Even the car that hit him. Car that hit their car that killed his mother. He begins remembering a lot of things. And, this is the start of something crucial. So, UA is given actually 2 days to, take off. I mean, frankly, when a student of theirs gets wounded really badly and on the brink of death, they need to give the students a couple days to at least breathe. So Izuku takes his time to head back to where his father is. And when he arrives, he sees the other pods. They're empty. What is going on here? Hizashi comes out and sees Izuku. Oh, Izuku, how you been? I've been good. What's up with the other pods? Oh, those, yes, those are, well, other androids. They seemingly didn't work out the way you did. It's odd, in fact. But we're gonna keep on trying, and I'm gonna keep on trying to help people. Izuku nods and swipes, well, something from Hizashi's desk without him noticing. He tells him that he actually got the next 2 days off, but he'll come visit before he has to head back to class. Hizashi thanks him for stopping by, and Izuku says that it's no problem at all. He leaves, and when he enters the dorms once again, he enters his room and begins looking through all the paperwork he took. He begins looking and reading over multiple profiles of people that were turned into androids. Various people that had lives before this. He begins looking at their entire history, who they were, what are their names. He realizes that he's the only one that became an android out of necessity, out of the fact that he was on the brink of death in a coma. He reads everyone. A young female by the age of 16, stolen from, well, a foster home. A young man by the age of 20, stolen from his home where his wife and kid were. Another one, a young female by the age of 14, 2 parents, 3 brothers, stolen at the age of 14 from their home. Izuku is shocked by this. What the hell is this? What am I? Am I really something that has free will? Are those androids really defective? Where did he put them? Izuku begins questioning his father. The father that saved his life. It's hard for him to wrap his mind around it, that he'd save his life but take away so many others. Izuku arrives back at the lab knowing that his father wouldn't be there. Certain, well, time constraints made him leave the lab. So he begins searching the lab and he finds remnants of those androids. And he looks to find that they aren't destroyed. They're somewhere else. There's a large wall with a screen and there's trackers in all of them. And one of the trackers is on Izuku, and it shows that he's in the lab currently right now. Izuku begins to panic a bit, but he calms himself down and says that he'll stay here. That would be the least suspicious, because if he knows better, his father will most likely have trackers on him and available to monitor. Okay, let's see what else I can do. Izuku begins looking through the database, learning as much as possible, seeing the locations of all these androids. It's as if these androids were at a standstill though. They're not moving. They're lifeless. Was Izuku the only one that could control his own motives? Or what was happening? Izuku walks out of the lab and, well, sits down in a little common area as he waits for his father, and he arrives. Izuku, I didn't know you were gonna come back so soon. Oh yeah, sorry about that. I completely forgot something. Izuku shows him the paperwork and hands it back to Hizashi. What is going on here, father? Hizashi, and his face goes blank. He begins to get confused. How did Izuku get this information? What's going to happen now? Hizashi says that it was all a test for him, that he needed all these other androids to make sure that his son could be okay. That's why he scrapped them, and that it was all just a tool to make sure that his son was okay. Izuku says that he knows that that's a lie. He's seen more than what Hizashi expects. Father, I need the truth right now. Izuku can feel his whole body tense up on him. He can't move anymore. The truth is, kid, you're just like another android. A tried to give you free will. I did. For your mother's sake. I really did. But you had to go digging around, didn't you? You had to go digging around. You even slowed down the process by killing the other scientists. But I guess that kind of worked out because it put me in a good light for a little bit. But you went digging around anyways. You heard all of that, I know you did. I planned everything perfectly. Izuku's eyes are the only thing that are able to move, but he himself cannot. Well, kid, sorry, but you're needed somewhere else. Izuku stands up. He's conscious, but not able to move at all. But then moving on his own. He can't. It's like he's actually a robot now. He's watching himself move and do actions, but he's not controlling them. After some time, he arrives at, a storage area, an isolated place where some, being walks up.
Now, are you the one that Hisashi talks about so much? His own son, an android. Now that is interesting. Very interesting.
Izuku is standing there in shock and staring at the man in front of him.
Shigaraki Tomura. It's a pleasure, my kid. My boy. You're gonna be working for me now. Just like those other androids.
The Hisashi then walks in after Izuku arrived. Shigaraki, it's a pleasure to see you again. Now, for a payment.
Yes, of course. Payment.
Shigaraki walks up and melts Hisashi, disintegrating him into dust. Izuku, all he can do is watch on.
Now, kid, don't disobey me, or that will happen to you just like your father.
Izuku's eyes says it all. He's afraid, but at the same time, pissed. Izuku didn't want this. What is this? Izuku was under the realization now. This society was corrupt, messed up, far from unrecognizable what he remembered. But now he knows what he needs to do. He needs to fix it. But that may be in some unconventional ways. Izuku looks at Shigaraki, and Shigaraki clicks a button. Izuku can completely and fully use his body once again. Why'd you do that?
Because, kid, it's simple. I need you at your full capacity, not some brainwashed state. Do you want to help me? Or I can, use you like a robot.
Depends on what you want to do. Because I could have that, little box in your hand out of your hand before you can even drop a pen. So tell me, what do you want to do, Shigaraki?
I want to change this society. It's really simple. Really simple. And it all starts with you. It all starts with me, and it all starts with my master. But that's some time away. But I have an idea. I want to draw out what they know as the symbol of peace. All Might.
All Might. You want All Might. Isn't he the only good hero?
No, actually, kid. You got it misconstrued. All Might is something else. He isn't really a true hero. People think that, yes, and maybe even on the outside it seems that way. But I promise you, what I've seen is not a true hero.
Okay. We'll see what we can do. But for now, I think you leave me on the back burner.
I see. How about you go with, UA then? The trader's already there. There's somebody there spying on them, so you might as well go as well. There's no harm done having two of you.
Two of us? Which one is he or she?
Actually, I like the way you think. You should throw him under the bus. Then it's perfect. They'll never know that you're sitting right under their noses.
Throw him under the bus. Interesting. I'll give it a thought. I'm gonna go. I'll tell you how it goes. Izuku leaves. And well, he knows who the UA traitor is. And he knows information about Shigaraki Tomura. And well, what he wants from this society. Now, the real question is getting rid of this link. He doesn't want to join the League of Villains. He doesn't want to join anybody. He wants to be his own quote-unquote hero. But a hero is far from the word. People don't understand that sometimes heroes need to make the tough decisions. Decisions that may even see them as a villain. But he'll, well, cross that barrier when he needs to. He arrives back at UA and, well, he begins explaining his little absence and explains to Aizawa everything that happened. Everything that happened. Aizawa is shocked by this, asking how he even got out, and Izuku explains exactly how he did. That there's a traitor here, and that he personally was set up to be one as well. And they need to get this chip out of him. Whatever thing they're using within him right now to control him and, well, shut down his circuitry and make it into in essence a robot, they need to get it out of him. Because if they don't, that Izuku can't control what's going to happen. Aizawa agrees. Aizawa says that he'll do whatever he possibly can to, well, help out. And that's what they do. He doesn't have his actual final exams. Izuku is under treatment, basically by the leading, more or less, scientists at UA and around the world to get, well, the control of his circuitry out of him, or the control circuitry out of him. And eventually they do. Luckily, Izuku is now not under the control of Shigaraki and not under the control of anybody else. Especially not at a click of a button. Izuku thanks them, and after some, well, recovery time, he's able to get back on his feet, eventually leading to them going to, well, the forest training arc. And they arrive, and the same old happens. They get thrown off the cliff, and then obviously it leads to their training beginning. After their training started, well, soon after, an invasion begun. The League of Villains then arrived to wreak havoc, and that's exactly what they did. Izuku wasn't, well, anywhere to be found, anywhere to be seen. Everybody in the league ran rampant on, well, the forest, and many students were killed in the process. Many were injured, and many were scarred for years to come. This was weird, odd, and not normal. The pro heroes couldn't do anything. They couldn't stop everybody. They could only help a so few number of students, and Izuku didn't do anything. He has the power and the strength to do so, but he didn't. He decided against it. He wanted to see how far these villains would go, well, just to make a statement. And it made him realize something. Villains, heroes, there needs to be an in-between. There needs to be someone, a peacekeeper, someone that will keep everybody in check. Izuku begins floating in the sky, seeing all the villains still running rampant. He quickly grabs one of them, a giant man by the name of Muscular, and begins flying him up. and up. He hovers above everybody. Now, let's see. Let's see how invincible you are when I put a hole in your chest. Izuku punches a hole through Muscular's chest and sends him flying back to the ground where Aizawa is standing. Aizawa stares at the body in complete shock, looking up to see Izuku with his mask torn half off. Now this is something else. People do not realize something, and it's pretty obvious. Death comes in all ways. Villains, heroes, everybody dies sometime. Let's see. Who's next? Izuku scans the area, quickly destroying and even killing the villains that were attacking the forest. He lands all the bodies next to Aizawa and then lands there himself. You may not understand this, Mr. Aizawa, but I understand it all. I've seen both sides. I've been, well, immersed into both sides. Hero, villain, I seen it both. So, I'm gonna give you a chance. You can join me on the expedition that I'm going after. This journey that I want to save the society from everything that isn't worth it. Or, you can stay here. Do what you want. But if we cross paths and I have to beat you, and I have to kill you, I won't hesitate. Aizawa stands his ground and says that he won't be going anywhere, and that he'll see him soon. Yeah, I will be seeing you soon. Izuku leaves, arrives at an unknown area in the forest, and a portal opens. He knew this would occur, and he was told this by the League of Villains, and he walks through the portal. He enters in, and Shigaraki is standing there, shocked that nobody is following behind him. Oh, my bad. I forgot to bring them. He walks back through the portal and throws a bunch of bodies through. Sorry, but these villains are out of commission. Shigaraki pulls out a remote and clicks the button, but nothing happens. Nothing worked. Shigaraki is now defenseless against Izuku. He may have his quirk, but Izuku is far stronger than anybody he could put in front of him. Izuku quickly uppercuts Shigaraki and throws him at a wall. Kurogiri tries to fight back, but Izuku tells him to stand still, to not move, or else. Kurogiri, out of fear, obeys. Izuku is about to kill Shigaraki until tendrils come out of nowhere, blasting him out of the building, and who else other than All For One, and he has arrived. All For One stands in front of Izuku and says that he could have been so much more than just this. He could have helped bring out a new society with them. It's not really my style. I'd rather do it my own way. So, let's see what you got, old man. Izuku charges at him, and in an instant, he's in front of All For One. He blasts All For One in the stomach with a taser-like blast. All For One can feel it. It hurts like hell. Izuku is grabbed by All For One and slammed to the ground. But that's not enough to defeat him. Izuku keeps on fighting against All For One, and well, this fight is pretty drawn out, even leading to multiple heroes arriving on the scene, including All Might himself. All Might arrives and doesn't know who to fight. He heard that Izuku killed a bunch of villains, but he's actually hasn't hurt a hero yet. He's only threatened Aizawa, but even offered Aizawa a hand in, well, changing society for, well, the better, quote unquote. All Might decides to defeat All For One with Izuku, in which they do relatively easy, but Izuku doesn't want to just defeat him. He's about to, well, end All For One's life, but All Might grabs his arm.
Kid, this is not the way. Please listen.
You don't know what the way is, All Might. Izuku smacks All Might away, as if he was hiding some sort of power. It's as if he was trying to draw out this fight with All For One to draw All Might in. Well, that's exactly what he was trying to do. Izuku then reaches and punches a hole through All For One, grabbing his heart and shows it to All Might. This right here is pure evil. This man is pure evil, All Might. You know that. I know that. This world knows that. He smashes the heart into, well, pieces. It blows up into blood everywhere. And All Might is shocked by what Izuku just did. He killed All For One. You all see death as unholy, maybe even not good. But what makes something good, All Might? What makes someone good? I could kill every villain on this planet and everybody would be safe, but I'd be deemed a villain myself, correct? So, I think you all have it a little misconstrued. You all have it a little biased. You don't understand what a true hero is. Maybe I don't either. But I damn sure know that death does not make you a villain, and saving only makes you a hero. So what is it? Am I a hero for saving somebody, or am I a villain for causing death upon other villains? People say that, well, if I do the job of a villain, that makes me a villain. But what if I eliminate that job? That job will never happen again. Doesn't that make me a hero, All Might? It's a tough question. A question that I don't even know how to answer quite yet. But don't worry, I'll make sure to answer it very soon. Izuku begins floating and begins leaving the area. All Might calls out with various other pro heroes. Endeavor even blasts at Izuku, but Izuku grabs Endeavor by the face. Don't even try it. I'm not in the mood. He slams Endeavor back to the ground, but doesn't kill him. Call this mercy, call it what you want. Don't come after me again. I'm not here to be your enemy, but I'm also not here to be your ally. Izuku leaves and tells all the heroes, I'll be watching you all. Don't make a stupid mistake. Fall under the wrong people. Choose the right people to defeat, whatever you call it. Send them to prison. But honestly, I don't know what's better. Grouping up a bunch of villains with no hope of rehabilitation, or sending them, well, off planet, maybe to another plane of existence. Izuku sighs. But maybe you all will figure that out very soon. Izuku leaves, as if he was never there. It was odd. This one person came out of nowhere, seemingly. He was so calculated with everything he wanted to do, everything he had in mind. It was as if these ideas were planted in him in general. Well, actually, they kinda were. Before, well, Izuku awakened, before Hisashi could argue anything about, well, changing the kid's personality, motives, or anything, there was a scientist among the bunch. A scientist that sought for a better society. Not like the other ones. The other ones wanted to rule it. The other ones wanted to profit. Hisashi wanted to profit. There was one very unknown scientist that slowly but surely gave Izuku the motives to, well, come to this conclusion on his own. Gave him the motives to make society better. But the scientist realized that making society better took sacrifice, took something that the heroes lacked. and that was a killing intent. Something and someone that would know the difference between mercy and a merciful death. And that's what Izuku was. He was the embodiment of that. An android stronger than all heroes, stronger than every villain. One that will lurk in the shadows. One that doesn't want to be in the limelight, but can smash someone's chest in if need be. Someone that could be a peacekeeper. And that's what he was. He was now the peacekeeper. An android, or more like a cyborg, that would run loose. But there was one missing thing that the scientists couldn't correct. And that was the other androids. The other androids were still dormant and stuck in place. But don't worry, that's where the free will of Izuku comes in. Even this thought, even when Izuku killed the scientist that did all of this, a smirk grew over his face, knowing that his job was done. That he helped the society, and he could watch from the skies while it all unfolded. Izuku, over the next little bit of time, may have went isolated. People haven't seen him in a while. But it wasn't just that. He was gathering up every android he knew. From, well, the little 14-year-old to the 20-year-old man he read about. Every person that was highlighted on that map he saw. Every tracking device that he knew of, he searched for. He got them basically situated, got their chips out of them so that they could never be controlled again, and told them that it was time for them to change this society. But they would do so controlled. But not controlled by the mind. Controlled by reality. They all are confused and ask why they should listen to him. And Izuku tells them that the only reason why they're even thinking for themselves currently is because he saved them. They're all shocked by this. They really don't have any recognition of any of that happening. Izuku shows them the truth and the full truth. They all look at him in shock and thank him. Izuku says that there's no reason, that all he asks is for their help to correct society, slowly but surely. Outside of that, well, they can do whatever they want, have a nice life, obviously be a good citizen. Whatever you did before, you can do now. You can even go visit your families once again. They all are shocked and begin questioning where they think their families are. Izuku gives them all, well, papers explaining exactly where they are. I wish you all the best of luck, and please come check in. Because at the end of the day, you are, well, my family as well. They all are confused by this and they ask, what does he mean? And he explains that his mother died in a car accident protecting him. And then his father, well, he was a very bad man. They all nod and say that they will be here for him, and that as long as he'll be there for them as well. Izuku slightly smiles. Of course, family will never leave each other, right? They all agree, and they head off to meet with their own families. Izuku smiles. Now it's time for this society to truly reform. And that is a wrap for What If Deku Was an Android. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed. This was a fun what if to make. Took me a while to make it. I actually, the day that I said I was going to take off, I used part of it to make this what if. And I'm currently making this obviously or the day before it will come out. So it did take me a little while to plan out and figure out exactly how I wanted the story to go. But yeah, like I said, hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, sub, all that good stuff, and have an amazing day. Later.